Okay, this video is the first look at InspectNet. InspectNet is a tablet version of our current InspectCE handheld program. It's designed to allow operators and mechanics and maintenance technicians, lubrication technicians to collect inspection data and to carry out simple condition monitoring using a tablet computer instead of a Windows mobile handheld computer. So basically it works in a manner very similar to InspectCE, but it does have a few interface differences. So I'm going to just I'm just making this recording to give you a look at the layout and the look and feel of InspectNet. InspectNet is designed to work with a mouse. It's also designed to work with a finger or a stylus, depending on the type of hardware you're working on. So if you're working on something like a Surface, Microsoft Surface, you will be able to use either a finger or a stylus. Working on a desktop type computer or a laptop, you'll be able to use a mouse. And of course, there are other devices out there that are strictly finger operated. So the intent is to allow the system to be used with any form of human interface. So I'm just going to go over the program quickly to give you a sense of its operation. When you first go into the program, you need to log in. So you hit the login tile. You will choose your login, your user ID, just like you do in InspectCE. Enter your password. And then choose your operating state. And then you are done. Logged in. You'll notice that you're logged in because you see the user ID and the op state in the status bar. You also note that the root data entry tile and the root communications tile are now enabled. To adjust the settings on the InspectNet, you have the settings tab or the settings tile. It brings up the settings screen, which lets you see the version number of the program you're running and the build number. You also have a group of different settings. If you wish to change one of them, you can open it up and you can see the different settings. So you can, for example, change the color scheme of the program, changing it to one of the Windows 8 color schemes or Windows 7 color schemes. It works for both. If you want to change the font sizes or the button sizes in the system, you can adjust the sizing of more or less every screen element in the system. The reason why we do that, which we didn't do in InspectCE, is that with InspectCE we had a pretty good idea of the size of the screen. On InspectNet, they can be everything from a tiny 5-inch screen all the way up to a full-on 40-inch TV screen. So therefore, it's very difficult for us to know in advance what the size of the device in terms of screen real estate. So therefore, we have made all the screen options configurable. So for example, if you see these buttons down here, you'll see that the button bar size is set to 84. If I decide that those buttons are a little big, I can set the button size to something like 56 pixels. Get out of settings. If I come back in, you'll see the buttons have been greatly reduced in size. I'll go back to 84. The buttons down below allow you to change the users, the op states, and the predefined notes for the note entry part. So if you want to add a user, simply press the user button, and that will bring up the list of users. This is different from the way things were configured in InspectCE, where everything was done by the installer program. Now the installer program is going to be very, very simple, and basically simply installing the program, and all configuration will be done on the tablet itself. So once you've established your login and you want to actually enter some data into a route, you'll go to the Route Data Entry tab, and you'll see a screen. And for anyone who's worked with InspectCE, this screen should be fairly familiar. The top is where you select your route, your list of available routes on the handheld. Below that are the tree filters, which enables you, for example, if you simply want to see only the items in the hierarchy that are currently missed or skipped. You can basically filter out all the completed items, or if you want to just see the ones that are in caution and critical, you can close them down and see those in that regard. Below is the hierarchy. Once you have selected an item, you can use the mouse to scroll up and down, or you can use a keyboard, but you can also use the button keys that are here on the screen to open, close, and to navigate through the also there is barcoding, as you would expect. Obviously I don't have a barcode scanner on this device, so it's hard to demonstrate it, but the barcoding will work in a manner very similar to the manner in the Inspect CE. So basically, to get to the top of a route, you simply select the item place where you want to start or scan a barcode, and then you will bring up the screens which are within the system. So for example, this is a user-defined form. One of the big differences in the user-defined form is that whereas in the previous system you had to actually select an item to make it editable, now everything is editable at all times. So simply by using your finger or the mouse, you can bring up the different editing windows that are available. Also, you will notice the little LED lights on the side. So for example, if you see that your item is in critical, so this is especially useful for user-defined forms, you can actually see which one of these items has put the entry into critical. So for example, let's see, I'll put the combo box back to normal. If you move the number using the slider bar, you'll see that it changes, and you can also see that, for example, the number is still remaining in normal, but the item is now the user-defined form is now going into caution because the calculation is now going into critical. So this is a simple feature. It's simply something to help clarify what's going on within the tab. So you can, and like I say, you can enter numbers just like you did within Inspect CE, text, dates, time, which has not yet been fully completed, the combo box, and the calculation. If you want to enter a note, you have the note tab. Basically, the way that you scroll your way through a note is you can either just use these arrows here to scroll through the predefined notes. You can also use your finger to simply flick through them using a flicking motion or a flip motion just by dragging your finger across the note. So if you want to enter the note, then you simply select by using the button down below. The info tab lets you see the information from a previous reading, any instructions or alert instructions that are in the. And then there is the image tab, which shows you any images that have been collected. If you wish to capture an image, you can use the image capture capability, which is using a webcam. Screen dialogue's a little large here. Choose the webcam that is available to you. You'll see that there's the picture from the webcam. If you hit the save button, the image is then captured. You can then go ahead and actually edit the image if you like using drawing tools. If you have an instruction or an image already available, it will actually pop up. Drawing from my daughter. And these are the pop-up images and the pop-up instructions. So they will either be an image or an instruction or both, depending on if you've configured to have both an image and an instruction. So you'll see there's the this is your multi-check. Your multi-check. You'll notice on this one there's the note. The info is the same as before, so you can see the previous reading. There's also the document tab. If you have downloaded a PDF file, you'll see that the document is able to be brought up right. So instead of bringing up an external program like we do with Inspect CE, we actually are able to bring up the PDF file right within the program itself. and we're able to, using the scroll bar or by simply using finger gestures, to be able to scroll and work our way through the actual document. And we can zoom in and out using the zoom in and out buttons. So here's another inspection. Here's a numeric entry. In this case, it's array type temperature, but since I have not got a temperature gun hooked up, it simply operates as a standard single numeric entry. You'll notice another tab has come up, the Trend tab. If I click on the Trend tab, you will see that you can see the trend information just like you did in Inspect CE. The graph is a little bit nicer, I think, than what we had in Inspect CE, but it's fundamentally very similar. If you want to zoom in, you can zoom in and zoom out on the graph by using the zoom buttons. Go down to, we have one at the bottom where we have an instruction popping up, and you can basically just by press, you notice the button's very large, it's all designed to be pressed with a finger. So you can see the info here, you can see the previous reading, you can see the alarm levels, you can see the instructions, and you can also see the alert instructions all on one screen. So whereas you used to have to go through several different dialog boxes to see it in Inspect CE, now all the information is available to you at one shot. Same thing with the trend graph. You can see the trend graph is here. Simply by moving your finger or your stylus over the points, you can see the actual values. If we bring up another type of route, let's try the this lube route. If I select one of the points, a greasing point, you'll notice that it brings up an image that we have downloaded to the device. You can see the user-defined form. You can enter the note, see the previous reading, any image information. You can see the image information. You can edit it. Also, here is using a MSDS form for Castrol Tribal. You can see this is actually significantly more usable than the document interface that we have with Inspect CE. It's a lot more fluid, a lot easier for the operators and the lube techs to use. Route communications is a little bit different in Inspect Net than it is in Inspect CE. The main difference being is that we firmly expect that communications in Inspect Net will be handled through, will not be handled through USB. They'll be handled through IP or Internet protocols. So therefore, what we have is we establish a position on a server that we can access wirelessly. You don't need to access wirelessly all the time. You simply only need to have that wireless access or tethered internet access while you're uploading and downloading the routes. So basically, you will then see where the route path that you can acquire routes from, and that's on the available for download. So you will set a series of routes on the network and then be able to download them to your device, or you'll also see the routes that you have uploaded to the network. Now, these routes, as they are imported into MAINTelligence, will gradually disappear as they are imported, because what happens is you will upload a route, they will go into this into the inbox for MAINTelligence. MAINTelligence will use the auto import process to process them and then bring them into the database. The idea being here is that you will be able to access the information basically anywhere you have any type of internet connectivity. You should be able to upload and download your routes. This is still an alpha release. We are still working on the details. Eventually, there will probably be a second interface method using a web service, which will allow operators to upload their routes in a manner almost identical to the way we do it now with Inspect CE, except that instead of talking to a client, the operators will connect directly to the server via a web service, and that's something we'll be working on once we get the rest of the capability of the software closed in. Still a few pieces missing here at this alpha release. We do have interfaces to the internet, the infrared thermometers. We do not yet have an interface to the Liberator. That's a fairly big job. So that will be our next job to get the Liberator interface working. But for those people who are collecting temperature data or collecting pick list data or multi-check data or using the user-defined forms, right now InspectNet is pretty much feature complete. There really is not much left to do in terms of actually operating the rounds, with the exception of the Liberator, and there's still a little bit of work left to do with the barcodes. So I just wanted to give you an overview of what the program is going to look like, how it's going to work. There's obviously been some usability enhancements that work a little bit differently than InspectCE. And this is one of the key points, the InspectNet program and the InspectCE program are plug compatible with each other. In other words, you can take Route X on your InspectCE handheld one day and move that exact same route onto an InspectNet tablet the next day. MAINTelligence, the two devices do not care, and MAINTelligence does not care. The information that goes to the tablets and into MAINTelligence or to InspectCE handhelds are exactly the same. So the idea is that the InspectNet tablet devices are completely bolt replaceable with InspectCE devices, and that was a design criteria right from the very beginning. So I hope you're interested. This program is basically, this is currently in alpha. We're hoping to go to beta before the end of the second quarter, at which point we will notify all of our existing customers if they are interested in trialing or trying out an InspectNet tablet device. Anyway, thanks for your attention, and I hope to have some more information about this and other new products that are coming out with MAINTelligence version 5 in the very near future.